And welcome to MTG Speculator Podcast, episode number 27. Today is Saturday, April 6th, 2017. I'm Massimo. Welcome, Matthew, to the podcast.
Yo, guys, what's up? Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been on hiatus for a couple months. Matthew and I and others we've been busy with some other side projects, but we're back. So sorry for the wait. Sorry we never told you guys on like a podcast that we were on hiatus. What happened was, Sam and I were going to do the Aether Revolt standard testing podcast. We did all the testing. I did a bunch of testing at the store with like a bunch of regulars. And we had some like a decent idea of what we thought was going to go on. We were pretty confident. But Sam ended up getting sick around the same time. And there wasn't a bunch of time until the SCG tour. And then I got kind of busy. So it never happened. And then I had to put the show on hold. But we're back now. Get ready for your regular scheduled MTG Speculator podcast episodes every 2 weeks moving forward.
Yeah, we're coming in full swing. And this year, because we basically had a 1 year anniversary.
Yes.
So that's all done.
Yes.
This year we're going to try something new. We're going to bring in some hot guests.
Yeah.
Hot guests. New people.
We are?
Oh, we are.
Oh my god. Thank you for putting that on my shoulders. Now I gotta find new people to put on the podcast.
Dude, we know so many people.
We actually do know a lot of people.
We know a lot of people, and it'd be nice to get different opinions on this podcast.
Yeah, I
Lesson
agree.
franchise, whatnot.
I mean, why don't you guys tweet at us?
Yeah, why don't you tweet us to see, we might not be able to score, hot Canadian pros to get on the show that aren't Sam.
Yeah. Pro Tour competitor.
Maybe you can get, like, Daniel Fournier, because people like him.
Yeah, I know Fournier pretty well. He's, like, a really nice guy. I'd wonder if he'd be willing to come on. I heard him on a few other podcasts recently, so I guess I'll ask him if it ever comes up. But yeah, for sure. I think we could definitely have guests on in the future. And as we, like, improve our setup here, hopefully it'll be easier to have, like, a guest on and, like, just Skype in and have the quality all, like, up to par.
Yeah. And I was recently listening to some other podcasts, mostly about Commander.
Yeah.
I'm getting back into it. It just seems like, for, like, a super fun episode of just chit-chat, 3-4 people is just really nice.
It is really fun.
3-4 people who know how to, like, let other people talk and give them airtime and stuff and not stumble on each other's toes. Yeah, it's just really good listening.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some degree of that is rapport, right? So, I mean, when we did you, me, Sam, and Scott, I think that went really well. It was like a really fun episode. Everyone got to speak their mind, and then we got to trash talk each other and stuff in like a fun way. So I think the rapport is an important level, but there's also a degree of just like bringing on fresh ideas and stuff to the show is definitely useful. So it's a balance. Let us know what you think. Send us a tweet at MTG Spec Podcast to let us know what you guys think.
And tweet your friends. Yo, MTG Spec Podcast is not dead.
Yeah, it's back. It's back from the dead. Just like Amonkhet.
We've revived it.
Yeah.
We're mummies now.
We're zombies.
Creature-type zombies.
In addition to our other types.
Yeah.
Perfect. Matthew, what's been up with you for the last few months?
Well, on the side of the side projects, I also got a job. So that's pretty sick. I'm going to be working full-time starting 2 weeks from now. It's going to get some income. I'm going to be able to buy some cards. Be able to knock off some reserve list cards that I've been looking at. I'm looking at you, Invoke Prejudice.
Yeah, true.
Only $100.
Yeah, for our Mono Blue Kira deck.
Yeah. There's so many pips. That can turn on Thassa real good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I also realized the fact that I haven't been able to buy cards recently due to lack of income. If you just wait, cards get cheap. So it's magic. I remember Disallow was like $6 when it first came out.
Now it's like nothing.
Now it's nothing. Baral was 10. Now it's 2. I was drafting with these guys the other day, and I was like, why is Baral 4th pick? This card's $10. And they're like, what? Dude, it's 2. And I'm like, oh. It didn't make my deck, but I picked it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dirty rare drafter.
Dirty rare drafter, Matthew Cabral.
Whatever. I take the hard decisions away from other people. That's all it is.
Yeah, true. Now they don't have to think about rare drafting.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk a casual chat about the new Amonkhet Spoilers that have come out thus far. We're only 4 days into official spoilers, so just talking about the cards we've seen so far and what we're looking at for the new mechanics and what cards might be better and that sort of stuff. And just like, we're just excited about the new spoilers.
Yeah.
So let's just chat it out.
I mean, I've been following the Reddit pretty closely, and if you go to like new and you refresh, every single time they post a spoiler, there's like a post that's like, Wizards really hit it on the head right with this spoiler. Or Wizards, what are they doing? They're messing up. Why are they giving us commons and uncommons instead of all the rares and mythics? It's like every single spoiler, somebody has to post like an opinion post about it.
About the spoiler.
About the whole spoiler season. And like, oh, what is Wizards doing? Or they're doing it great. And I think it started since the Invocations. Or no, actually it started since the Aftermath cards. With, like, the new frame.
Oh, yeah.
This whole spoiler season has been sick tension.
Oh, true. That's a great point.
Where everybody's like, is Wizards out of their mind? What their templating team got shot and they got replaced by, like, mummies or whatever.
Oh, true. Zombies in addition to their other types.
Mm-hmm. It's just, it's one of the more fun spoiler seasons.
Definitely.
Especially because, like, tribes are getting love that you wouldn't think. There's a bunch of rare cards that seem like uncommons at best.
Yeah,
it's just like a lot of weird things are happening.
And there's like all these weird cycles and stuff, and then there's this tension because Bolus is going to show up.
Bolus is showing up,
but like we know he's not going to show up until the next set.
There's like Ashiok weird theories.
Oh really? I haven't heard about that.
Theories like Ashiok's head looks like Bolus horns.
Oh yeah,
true.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. I've mostly been standing on the sidelines and nodding. The cycle lands were pretty exciting.
Yeah, true. The cycle lands are really exciting. We'll get to those, though, I think.
Yeah, so that's my general take, is like this spoiler season's been fun. There's a lot of people getting up in arms, and I'm just laughing. Because, it's a spoiler season. It's supposed to be a good time. You're getting new cards.
Yeah. On a similar vein, like how I've been enjoying the spoiler season, and I've just been sour, because...
Every card loses to Mardu vehicles.
Yeah, and it's like, if there was just a rotation now, like there was supposed to be, this set would be way more exciting.
Right?
Right? And now it has to compete with, like, Mardu Vehicles is still going to probably be the best deck unless something crazier new comes out.
Yeah.
4-color Saheeli is going to be the best deck. It's just going to be those two decks, and they're just going to get better pieces.
And, like, Energy didn't get any help, obviously.
Obviously,
so,
yeah.
So, like, there goes Aetherworks Marvel. Now that has to compete with even more cards.
Yeah, and then unless there's, like, some crazy huge bolus or whatever in this set.
True. Like some sick cast trigger or something.
Yeah, something absurd. It'd have to be, like, better than Ulamog or, like, around that level.
I mean, they gotta print something big. They've gotta. I mean, the gods are the biggest things and they cost little. Like, yeah. They cost less than their power toughness.
Maybe they'll cast, like, they'll make, like, an 8-mana artifact that's like put 3 brick counters on it, and then you got a 20/20 pyramid creature.
Like the monstrous guy, the Colossus?
Yeah, but except it's a zombie in addition to its other types.
You gotta be a zombie. Every color gets zombies in this set.
That's true. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That love.
All right. Let's talk about our first card. Let's talk about Liliana, Death's Majesty, which just came out today. This card's pretty sweet.
It's pre-ordering for $25.
Yeah, $25 seems pretty high, but I don't think it's the most unreasonable, to be honest. This card's powerful. It's a 5-mana reanimation spell that leaves you with a 2 loyalty walker. Like, that's pretty sick. I think the correct way to play this is you play it on 5, and then you immediately -3 it. Hitting even like a strong 2-drop or 3-drop is probably fine.
Yeah. So this card's neat in that, milling 2 is a lot more powerful than it seems, especially when you have Delirium in the format, and you have
Embalm.
Well, I mean, I don't think the Embalm cards are going to be that good. They don't seem if there's going to be a playable Embalm.
Yeah, they don't seem very pushed.
But there's Aftermath.
Yep.
Right? We know that there's one that's like each player loses X life, whatever.
Yep.
But still, the self-mill has some extra synergy. The fact that the +2 makes an untapped 2/2 zombie while lacking flavor is much better as a card.
Yeah, way better.
Because, now it can somewhat protect your Planeswalker. Plus to protect is pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah, and like if you have anything good going on, the -3 is decent. So, I was telling Massimo that, if this -3's, like a 5-mana reanimate is almost playable if you're getting back something huge.
Yes.
Which is like, you can get back an Ulamog. You can do all that kind of stuff. 5-mana reanimate plus a 2-mana 2 loyalty Planeswalker is like a slight upgrade.
Yes.
I would say. And of course, you don't really want to be making a 2/2 black zombie and milling yourself if you're like in an Ulamog reanimate deck. I think that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, I think she's going to be good in like a mid-range deck.
Yeah, I agree.
Where you're getting back maybe a 2-mana card, a 3-mana card.
So the way I see this card is like, say you have a mid-range deck and you have like 1 Lily in your list. So if you or maybe 2. So if you draw her and play on turn 5, you can probably just plus and protect and then she's a threat. And then, or she buys back a 2 or 3. But later on, she'll come back and she'll buy back an Ishkana or a Kalidas or an Avacyn, right? Like some sort of like high impact creature, or like a tireless tracker even is like a pretty good hit for her. So it's definitely good in that her power level ranges from like good on turn 5 to like spectacular or better on like later on.
The fact that she uses your graveyard as a resource is pretty busted.
Yeah.
Especially because this was like it's like a grapple with the past. If you get back a 3-mana card, you're just playing grapple and then you put it into play.
Yep.
If it's anything more, then it's obviously better.
Mm-hmm.
And the +2 is obviously good with the grapple. This card's good with traverse. It's probably good with the 3-mana Liliana.
Yeah, it's probably great with the 3-mana Liliana, for sure.
The fact that you mill yourself to get back creatures. Like, this whole, like, graveyard attrition-based strategy.
Definitely.
Seems decent.
Definitely.
The only question is 5 mana too much? Are you dead at 5 mana?
I would say no. I mean, Obnix sees play.
Obnix kills a creature when it comes
back. So that's the thing, is like, how much is this better than Obnix?
If this gets back a Gear Hulk, that's dope. Like, if it gets back Noxious Gear Hulk,
that's ridiculous.
That's good, because all of a sudden this is nearly better than Obnix.
Or even the blue Gear Hulk is nuts too. Just like,
because it's free.
Yeah, you just get a free Gear Hulk and then you get to cast something else for free. A removal spell or a draw spell or something.
Yeah, so it seems like you might need to be stocking your graveyard somehow.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're playing, like, Oath of Jace or something. Is that still in the format?
Yep.
Like an Oath of Jace, put like a Gear Hulk in your graveyard and then figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. She also buys back, like, Felidar Guardian for whatever that's worth.
Well, you can get back any number of Felidar Guardians from your graveyard with this card.
Correct.
If you have 4 in your graveyard, you get all 4 back.
You get all 4 back, and then you get to reanimate something else.
Yeah. Felidar Guardian is just good with Planeswalkers.
I know, right?
Doesn't matter, Saheeli or Chandra, whatever. Yeah, I mean, is good. I think it's good. It might see play as a one-of. I think that's what 5-mana Planeswalkers really are.
Yep.
They're just like one-ofs.
1 or 2 ofs at best.
Yeah, they're no longer like you play 4 of them because they're just so busted.
Yeah.
They've like toned down.
Definitely. I think she's good. 25 seems like reasonable. I think she'll probably fall to 15 at lowest.
I'm not too excited to pick her up at 25 because, I don't really have a deck for her right now, but even then.
The only way she goes above 25, I think, is if there's a dedicated Reanimator deck.
Yeah, like if they print like a tireless tracker that fills your graveyard type deal, like something that busted.
Yeah.
Like if it's trivial to get like 10 cards in your graveyard by the time you play this.
Yeah.
Then you have so much choice.
You can play the blue-black zombie that comes back. What's his name? Prized Amalgam. Yeah, so she's like good with that kind of strategy. Like if you can Turbo Mill, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Put 15 cards in your yard. Play Lily minus. Get back gets back some value creature and 2 Prized Amalgams. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting.
So I mean that's an option. We'll see where she goes. She just looks like a good planeswalker. I think she'll fall around 15, 20.
And the fact that she fits with both the Shadows and the Amonkhet card types, like, that means that she'll probably see some play.
Yeah, I would see her seeing a lot of play, actually. Yeah. All right, let's move on. The next thing I want to talk about is Glorybringer.
One of the first cards spoiled.
Still
one of the best cards.
Yeah, it's the Bio Box promo as well. I think this is the best card spoiled so far, in my opinion.
I think it's really good, too.
It's just a Flame Tongue Kavu. It costs 1 more mana, but it has haste. It's evasive. The only thing that this loses to is it looks really embarrassing against an Avacyn. But if you're on the play, it doesn't matter because you're going to cast this before they cast their Avacyn. And if you're on the draw, it's like you can play around Avacyn to some extent. It still kills Avacyn once she hits the table.
Yeah.
Right? As well is if you can accelerate into this, like if you can play that 2-mana guy.
Like any 2-mana.
Any 2-mana ramp creature.
Yeah.
Probably the 3/4 that comes with -1/-1 counters. Channeler Initiate. You just play this on turn 4 and you're just doing it. You're just going off, right? It comes down, minus, kill something, and you're getting in for 4.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that if you're on the play, I think it works out you can kill their Gideon and the guy that they make.
Yep, definitely.
So, I mean, that's obviously really good.
It's incredible.
It 2-for-1s against Planeswalkers a lot of the time.
Yep.
So, the fact that Hazoret means that you don't untap makes me think that, like, it only has 1 shot. You know what I mean? Like, when I think Exert in Constructed, I think, like, oh, this attacks one time.
Yeah.
And then the creature's, like, irrelevant. You know, like, they'll kill it, they'll ignore it for a turn, they'll do whatever they want, they'll keep it tapped down somehow, I don't know.
Or they'll just wrap the board.
Or they'll wrap the board. Like, they have so much time to answer this.
Yes.
Once you've exerted it. So when I look at it, I say you get one hit out of it.
Yep. That
right?
sounds fair.
And at that point, this card is, like, pretty decent.
Yeah.
But you're hearing rumblings of Always Watching.
Always Watching.
And that's the combo. You give all your guys Vigilance, and then they can exert to their heart's content, and all of a sudden you can exert every turn. If you can exert every turn with +1/+1 bonus and block,
Yeah.
like, suddenly this deck is really...
Incredible.
Is really getting somewhere.
Yeah, there's the new 2-mana 3/1 that becomes a 4/4.
With lifelink.
With lifelink when you
attack,
exert
and it curves perfectly into Always Watching.
Yep, it does.
So we bring back Thraven Inspector. Thraven Inspector, that, Always Watching, Glorybringer.
Yeah, and this guy, Ant Crop Crasher.
Well, I don't know if this even needs to be this crazy aggro deck.
That's true. It could just be like a mid-range deck.
Yeah, like, just, because obviously just dealing 4 creatures,
Just
it's not an aggro thing to do. You get them.
Yeah, you just get them.
You know? Yeah, I really like Always Watching in an exert-based deck. I think both cards are good, and both cards will help themselves see play.
Yep.
I think it's like the Glorybringer is the best one, so the combo's there.
Yeah, so Glorybringer's at $3. I could see this easily going up to $8 if it's just like the best deck, you know what I mean? And then there's also Always Watching at $1.75.
You could see it already going up a little bit.
Yeah, it's on the upswing, so it might be time just to buy them now. Just you get your copies for $2 and then just sit on them, because if you want to play the deck, you can. And then it does rotate in 6 months, so be mindful of that. Let's talk about the next best things, I think, to come out of this set is the Cycle Lands. They're each at $5 on Star City Games right now. I wonder what people are selling them on TCG Player. Yeah, that's $4. Cool.
So it's about $5. I feel like the green ones will be more expensive, because they'll have modern implications with Life from the Loam.
Yeah, true.
Right? Also, the green white one, like, that deck plays Horizon Canopy, just because it's a land that can turn into it can basically cycle.
Right.
Right?
The cycling
and
one. Yeah,
so this one, it does come into play tapped, which is obviously bad, but I could see some versions of a green-white deck wanting to play that instead.
Yeah, for sure.
Or in addition, you know what I mean?
Yep. Another thing to keep in mind is, like, these are the best allied color lands in Standard.
They have land types. I totally forgot.
You did?
I was looking at them right now, and I forgot that implication, and that's busted.
Yeah, it's really good. It makes them way better.
That makes them so good. I totally forgot they had land types.
Yeah, you could just fetch them on end of turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
One thing about them is, in Standard, these are just going to be the best allied colored lands, and it'll definitely boost up the power of the shadow lands. Because
you can reveal them.
You can reveal these to the shadow lands, and they share the color types. So 3 color, like, shards are going to improve their mana bases a lot. So I think the BFZ lands are going to go down in value, where the shadow lands go up.
Yeah.
And then these ones, I think $5 is a reasonable price point to buy in. I don't see them going much higher unless they start seeing some modern play, which is questionable. It's unclear how many certain lists will want to run.
Yeah. I think the fact that these have land types and cycle means they're quite a bit above the BFC lands. Like, these are way better.
Way better.
And BFC lands, I mean, some have dropped to like $1 something.
Yeah.
$1 and change. So, I mean, it's unclear. I think these might go bottom at like 3.
Yep, I would agree.
Maybe $2.50 at the lowest.
Yeah, I would compare these to the creature lands from Battle for Zendikar block.
Yeah.
Because, you know, those average, I think, right now, maybe $4 or $5 across all 5. Yeah. And they do see play in Standard. Some of them do see play in Modern. And this seems like a totally reasonable price point to buy in, I think.
I mean, I'm not too stoked on them. I mean, it seems like for most of the cards in this set, if they're not 99-cent rares, then they're overpriced. It seems like I know potential is up in the air, based on like what deck's going to be good playability and whatnot.
Yeah,
but like $5 for a land in a set that is presumably going to be open a lot, I'm not really sold on it, because historically they've gone down to 3 pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm not really sold. I really like the land types though. It didn't help the BFC ones get that expensive. No, but these ones might be different.
Oh, another thing about the red-green land is that this seems like a auto replace for what's that?
Oh, you're talking about the one in Scape Shift?
Yeah, the Scape Shift.
Or Titan decks?
Yeah, Scape Shift / Titan decks. Because these are mountains, forests.
Right.
They're fetchable, and then they count for Valakut.
I mean,
and now you cycle them.
They probably just go in addition to whatever else the deck is doing.
The Cinderglades.
I mean, the problem is, like, I don't really know how good cycling is in Modern.
I would imagine it's not trivial.
To not have a land.
I mean, it's obviously expensive, but if you've got nothing better to do, you're definitely happy to have this over another land.
I mean, if you have nothing better to do, you're probably losing in Modern.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in Scape Shift, like, you can waste some mana.
I think Scape Shift would probably play these over, maybe not basic forest, but, like, maybe they're playing, like, Copperline Gorge or something, that they would rather have this.
Yeah, I know that they're definitely playing Cinderglades. So
Cinderglades, I think, are actually quite good because you're tutoring out basic lands.
Yeah, that's true.
But they might start considering playing Farseek. I don't know if they play Farseek already, but it's you tutor up a land with a basic land type that's not you tutor up a mountain, island, swamp, or plains.
Yeah.
So it can get this.
It can get this.
Basically.
Yeah.
So they might consider playing that. It doesn't really combo with the Cinderglade though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at a stock list on MTG Goldfish.
They don't really have a lot of flex. It's 2 Cinderglades and everything is basic or the fetch.
Or the fetch lands.
Fetches or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some room here, so that's okay. All right, let's move on to Regal Caracal?
We looked this up.
I looked it up, but I forget.
Yeah, I think it's...
Caracal?
Caracal.
Anyways, this is the 3-mana cat that gives your other cats +1/+1.
It's incorrect. It's 5 mana.
Didn't it?
5 mana 3/3.
Sorry, that's what I meant. It's a 5 mana 3/3 that comes with 2/1/1 cats with lifelink, and it gives your other cats +1/+1.
Quote unquote. This is... What do they call it? Oh, it was so good. It was so punny. Siege Gang Catmander. Because it's a 5 mana something that gives
comes
you...
with tokens.
Yeah.
I think this card's actually deceptively powerful, and it's only $1 on Star City Games right now.
Lifelink doesn't mean anything to me.
So lifelink doesn't mean much, but it is 3 bodies for 5 mana. If you're reanimating this at all, if you're buying it back and can get it out of hand, like Ishkana is a 5 mana 3/5 that comes with more toughness, but less power, right? And
so the problem with power when you go wide to have power, it doesn't really help you attack.
Yeah, it's not this card is not for attacking. This is not an aggressive card at all.
Don't forget we have Avacyn.
Yeah, and this is obviously competing with Avacyn, which is in my opinion, a much better card than this. But my point is that there might be decks, like very defensive decks, that might actually want this. Like I could see Control, if they're playing that Black Lily, for example, or the 3-mana Lily, actually want this in its sideboard because it comes down, stabilizes the board, gains you some life. You trade it off aggressively, and then you cast it again.
It doesn't itself have lifelink, though.
It does not. But it's not legendary, so if you have another one, they give each other +1/+1 and life.
The only cute thing I can see with this is the fact that you can Felidar Guardian. And Felidar Guardian's a cat.
Oh my god! That's so cool!
That's it. That's the only thing you can do with this card.
That's actually awesome! I didn't think about that at all.
The only other cat, excuse me if I'm wrong, is Sacred Cat. That already has lifelink.
That can't be correct.
Let's ignoring green cards because there's like a pouncing cheetah. No, not ever.
Oh, in this set.
In this new set.
Oh, what about in standard though?
In standard, Felidar Guardian.
That's what I'm saying.
Is Felidar Sovereign a cat?
Yes.
I mean, okay, you can live the dream and try to get to 50 life in standard with this card.
Yay!
So you can win with your stupid cat tribal standard deck. Dude, this card's $2.50. Oh no, it's $1.
It's $1.
Oh, whatever. Still bad.
Okay,
it's a subtype. Cat's a subtype.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Massimo's trying to gather or something, and he's failing.
I'm not doing a very good job.
Okay. Felidar Cub. Wow.
Felidar Guardian. Felidar Sovereign.
Felidar Sovereign.
Long Tusk Cub is a cat, and Scrounging Bandar is a cat.
Hey, you can give away all of its counters and still have it live, because it'll be a 1/1.
With lifelink.
Wily Bandar. That's a cat.
A Scythe Leopard. Okay, there's no good cats other than Felidar Guardian. I accept. And Long Tusk Cub.
I mean, Felidar Sovereign, you win the game if you have 40 or more life.
Seems terrible.
No, Massimo, I think it seems about right with what you're suggesting.
If you're playing Regal Caracal, you may as well play Felidar Sovereign.
You may as well play Felidar Sovereign. Saffron Olive will play a cat tribal life gain deck.
And I'll hate it. I'll hate it so much.
You'll hate it so much.
True.
You know what? You know what could be dope? In like a against the odds type dope. You play this card. You play New Lily.
Yeah.
You play Felidar Guardian.
Yeah.
And you play Eiley, Eternal Pilgrim.
Uh-huh.
So you could start sacrificing your cats to vindicate their permanence.
Wow. White-black life gain.
White-black life gain against the odds. Anyway, it's $1. It's worse than Avacyn. There's isn't there another card that's 5 mana and the Gear Hulk.
Yes.
White Gear Hulk.
The White Gear Hulk. Which again is probably okay. I would say this is better than the White Gear Hulk.
So this card, in all seriousness, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's 5 mana with a decent ETB effect that has lifelink.
Yeah.
I'm just not in love with the fact that they can just answer this with deal 3 to all creatures, and all of a sudden it's been completely countered.
Mm-hmm.
Or Heaney's Expertise is not seeing that much play, but that kills all of this.
Yeah.
So as you kill the Lord, everything dies. No matter, basically, like if you have 3 3s against +1/+1, they'll still die because this guy dies.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks a lot like Ishkanah. It looks like Cloud Goat Ranger to me.
Cloud Goat Ranger give you 3.
Yeah, that's a big difference for sure.
Like, I would rather this give you 3 1/1 cats than make 2 1/1 cats that can give it +1/+1.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not that good. It's a fine limited card. Quite good and limited. But I'm not too in love with, unless they print more Flicker, because the last set had, it's not good, but the Stratagem,
Illusionist Stratagem. Yeah,
that's terrible. That card's great value. There's also the 1 mana Flicker card if it's a spirit.
That's true.
Maybe there's some crazy Cloud Blazer deck.
All right, I've had enough.
See, this card's terrible.
Okay, let's move on.
Flector Mage died for this, and it's still...
Yeah, true. All right. We already talked about Always Watching at $1.75. Let's talk about the Blue God, Kefnet the Mindful at $6.
Okay, we did the math. I don't think you can attack on turn 4 with this, right?
No, you can if you're on the play, but you have to unramp yourself.
Yeah, you play on turn 4, you have 6 cards in hand after you draw. You play the land, activate Kefnet, return the land, draw a card.
Yeah.
Now you can attack with your 5/5.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a good line.
No, it sounds awful.
That line's not good. And the problem with this versus, say, Fasa, I think, is not the fact that it's a god, but it's a 3 mana 5/5 indestructible, I think is what you compare it to. Thassa did something when it sat around.
That's true.
It scryed 1 for free. This costs mana to do something that's good. 4 mana draw card is good.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have this early game because... you're trying to develop your board, you're trying to counter the spells. You don't want to take turn 3 off so that you can guarantee that in the future you could choose between countering a spell and drawing a card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not good.
No.
And if you cast any spell before you play this, you can't attack.
Yep.
So
on the draw you could.
Yeah, so if you want to think about this as a card that you don't necessarily play on turn 3, and you hold up until turn 6, where you play it and you have a counterspell still up. Or turn 7, you play it and then you can activate it the same turn.
Yeah.
And have counterspell. Maybe this is more of a Gear Hulk type thing.
Yeah, it's closer to that, I think. I don't think people should be attacking with this very often. I just feel like, what deck does this want? A control deck, right? Because you need 7 cards in hand. But if you have 7 cards in hand as a control deck and you're not dead, haven't you already won? Do you really need a 5/5 flyer? Isn't the Gear Hulk enough?
Yeah, that's why I think this is mostly for I don't know, a cycling deck if they print enough cycling spells that have effects, suddenly you can maintain your hand size. Actually, that grows you play a land, but yeah, you maintain your hand size and
actually affect the board in a meaningful way.
The other thing is maybe you play. I was trying to think, maybe you just don't play your lands. Is there a reason to not play your lands in Standard?
Not really. Unless you're just, it doesn't seem promising.
And, there's no way to, draw, to refill your hand.
Yeah, you need, a windfall.
The only way to refill your hand, Kozilek.
Yeah.
Go back to 7.
Cast your 10 mana Kozilek, now your 5/5 flyer can attack.
Unless they print a card that, can give you, draw you a ton of cards.
Like Jace, Unraveler of Secrets?
No, maybe it draws you a bunch of cards, but they're all bad, lands. If you have a card that's 4 mana, Seek the Horizons, 4 mana, draw 3, put 3 lands in your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Suddenly, you can refill a lot easier.
Isn't that in Standard right now?
No, that was from Dragons.
Oh.
No, wait. Or was that from BFC?
No, this is cons.
Anyway, either they give you cards like Remand, where you can play spell, you can interact without going down cards hand size, or they make cards that can refill your hand really easily. And I'm talking about like a mount. You know, like instead of Glimmer, where you get a scry 2, draw 2, you just 4 mana, draw 3.
Yeah.
Type deal like that. That'll help you.
For sure.
But at the same point, now you're playing cards that are like 4 mana, draw 3 when your god itself has a 4 mana draw card. So like, why are you playing it?
There is Painful Truths is still in standard, so...
Yeah, true. This seems
3.
really good with Painful Truths.
It's probably the best option.
Yeah, because that also means... Oh, you can do it so you can attack and then post-combat play land.
Yes, you can do that. That is a line.
So that's a lot better.
Yeah. So, and you can also represent, like, you know, if you have a 5/5 and 4 mana up and you have 5 cards in hand, you can represent blocking with a 5/5, right? Or you can like Glimmer or counter or whatever. So there is some synergy there, but I feel like having 7 cards in hand, even though it's 4 mana, like draw 2 cards and ramp yourself one, it's like not good.
Is a 5 kind of indestructible? Like, is there a way to deal with that in standard?
There's like Stasis Snare, there's Declaration in Stone, there's that new 4 mana flash.
Oh, they can always deck and stone this.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, but deck and stone's not seeing play.
Just because it doesn't now doesn't mean, and it has in the past. Just because it isn't now doesn't mean it won't in the future, you know?
I mean, but if you're representing the line where you just hold up mana, you try to hold up mana as much as you can, you could counter it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
You can also bring this is a creature all the time.
Yes.
Which means it's got some synergy with vehicles.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's got some synergy with, like, returning it, like, reanimating it, returning it to play.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Like, fight, if they print a good fight card for once.
This can fight.
Yeah.
I mean, this with Prey Pawn is not even that bad.
No, it's not.
Just because it's indestructible anyway, so you're not going to lose your guy.
Yeah.
So, there's pretty interesting implications. Also, Fevered Visions.
Yeah, so Fevered Visions, I think, is another great way to...
It just lets you draw an extra card every turn.
Yeah. Like, it's a build-around card. The question whether or not is building around it worth it, and I don't think it is.
Okay, well, for now, it's build around, but... You know, we'll see what the rest of the spoilers give.
Yeah, that's the key.
The good thing is that in this set, they've also given Aftermath cards. Sure, they don't count as cards in your hand, but they're options for you.
They're mana sinks.
They're mana sinks, so you don't have to cast the cards in your hand. It's like in Commander. When you have 7 cards in your hand, sometimes the best thing to do is still just play your Commander.
Yeah.
You know, just maintain your hand size.
Yeah,
you have that card for free, it dies, you draw a card.
Yeah, or activate an ability of a creature or something like that.
Yeah, so it's just... Having cards that you can do stuff from the graveyard, you don't have to, like, do as much stuff out of your hand.
Yeah.
There's not, like, I mean, all these cards are trash.
Yeah, all the split cards are terrible.
None of these split cards are standard playable. Well, maybe, like, 1. Yeah, and then, like, the mana cost is good, 2 and a blue.
Yeah, it's actually really cheap.
Like, not even cheap, but you could splash this.
Definitely.
So, I think it's potential. It's a legendary, so it's probably a 3 of.
Yeah, it's at most a 3 of.
And you don't want to play, there's no point of having 2. I mean, it gets stuck in your hand, which fuels your hand, so there's that. Which is weird, but...
Yeah.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, $6 is probably a little too much.
Yeah, I could see this more like 2 or 3, to be honest. It looks close to bulk mythic to me, to be honest.
I mean, yeah. If any... Like, Avacyn saw the most play in, but that was like, what, 15?
No, I think she went up to 25. But she also didn't have masterpieces in her set.
Okay, so that's... You subtract like 30% or something.
Something like that.
So, yeah, it's fine. If it sees play as like a 4 of or something ridiculous, then all of a sudden
it'll be like $15, but $20. But yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it right now.
Yeah. I don't think it's as good as the Red God.
Okay, here we go. I promise that we'll test it when Sam and I do our standard testing stuff.
I mean, you don't have to make any promises. Just
I'm promising right now.
Yeah?
I'm gonna try and break this silly god.
Good. Perfect.
But let's talk about the good god.
Good God.
Hazoret the Fervent. Fervent.
Hazoret the Pervert.
Yeah.
As the invocation says.
Yes, exactly. I think this card's actually really good.
No, this card's really good. This is much easier to turn on.
I think this is $5 for a strong buy. I think they're printing a lot of really powerful red cards at like reasonably low mana cost, and you have probably the best red 5-drop they've printed in a long time. with Glorybringer, like comparable probably to what's the name of that dragon from Theros? Thunderbreak?
Yeah.
Stormbreath Dragon.
Stormbreath Dragon.
Yes. So it seems like Red's getting a lot of support right now, and I think Hazoret is the easiest to turn on. I think you can play a reasonably low to the ground deck and actually attack with this, not necessarily on turn 4, but on turn 5. So I'm going to pose you a question, Matthew. If this was a 4-mana 5/4 that didn't have haste, would you play this card in standard?
And everything else is the same?
Everything else is the same.
No, I wouldn't play it.
You wouldn't play it?
No.
So you need to attack with it on turn 4 for it to be worthwhile?
Yes.
Interesting. So I think I would actually probably... It'd be close. I'm not saying it'd be like 100% I'd play it, but if this didn't have haste, it was just a 4-mana 5/4 indestructible with everything else.
Then you're just playing a 4-mana do-nothing enchantment on turn 4, and we've already established that that's garbage.
No, but the point is that on turn 5 it'll attack every time. That's the argument.
But it can't even block.
Right, it can't block on turn 4, whatever.
I can't think of something similar. But yeah, go on.
So I mean, it's just like a huge indestructible guy. But I mean, obviously it having haste is a huge upside. But my point is sometimes it will just be a 4-mana 5/4 indestructible with this discard a card, silliness on it.
Uh-huh.
That actually helps turn itself on. And that's fine. I think that's a reasonable card. But every time you cast this on turn 4 and bash for 5, you're doing really good work.
I mean, you need to be like 90% that when you cast this, you can attack with it.
That's fair. I agree with that.
I think, obviously this ability is much worse than the blue one. The activated ability?
Yeah.
Because you're discarding a card instead of drawing a card.
Yeah.
To deal 2 damage, which only is, it's reach. So you need to be pressuring their life total.
Yeah.
Which means attacking with this.
I'm just trying to figure out, if you're on the play...
Play 1 drop, 1 drop, 1 drop, 1 drop.
Oh, you have to play a bunch of 1
Hazoret.
drops? Say you curve out perfectly 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
On the play.
On the play, you can't cast him, right?
You can cast it.
Oh, right. You have to play a 1 drop. If you miss turn 1, then you can't cast this. You can't attack with it if you curve 1, 2, 3. If you curve 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
On the
And
play.
so the issue now is, this is probably not very important, but a lot of lands come to play tapped in standard.
Yes.
So you're playing either mono red.
Yep.
Or you're playing fast lands.
Yep.
With the smallest splash you've ever seen.
Right. So red, blue, or red, white.
Yeah. And I don't really... Red-blue, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a tempo deck. But mono-red. I think maybe mono-red has a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
Only because you really want to be able to curve out with this kind of card.
Yeah. Also, I don't really mind playing 4 because you can just discard the if you get one stuck in your hand. You just never want to draw 3. If you draw 3 of these, you're in rough shape.
You know what? People are also saying you could play this in red-black madness because the fact that if you draw him late, he's always going to be turned on anyway.
Yeah.
The game will always go that, the blue god. You're not going to end up turn 10 with 7 cards in your hand randomly.
No, never.
The game always ends up, you play a land every turn, you play some spells. You're
Yeah.
going to go down to 1 to 0 cards.
Yeah.
So this card is always better late.
Definitely.
So either in regular decks, you can make him as a 1 of, 2 of.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's a pretty sick top end. He turns your lands into, deal 3 to your opponent.
2, yeah.
Sorry, 2 to your opponent.
Kill walkers from a distance.
Kill walk. I mean, there's a lot of walker pressure in red these days.
Yeah.
I don't think it really helps.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still good.
Yeah.
But if you want to dedicate it and you play stuff like red black, you play collective defiance, brutality.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that's pretty good. You can discard 3 cards in 1 card.
Yeah.
You still have lightning axe. You still have fiery temper.
Yep.
So people are saying, "Oh, this card's trash because 3 mana to discard a card." That doesn't help me madness out spells.
No, but that's not the point.
That's not the point. You want a 4 mana 5/4 haste indestructible.
Yeah.
That's bogus.
That's really good. Another note though is if you're drawing off the top in a mid-rangey sort of deck, I think you'd rather just have Chandra, right? Torch of Defiance. So I think
it depends on if you're actually if you're mid-range, you probably want Chandra. If you're aggro, you probably want this.
So it limits the amount of decks that it can be played in, but it could definitely still find a home.
Do people play Chandra in a curve that ends at 4?
I don't think so. Well,
Basically,
they do in some Mardu Vehicles list play some.
Okay, so basically, this one seems more of madness synergy, or specifically aggro. This is your top end.
This is
all you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Chandra doesn't really. This doesn't kill creatures. Chandra's a different role player. Chandra's card advantage, kill creatures, ramp. This is deal extra damage, attack,
Kill
discard
your
cards. It's like completely different.
Yeah, it is. It is on a different axis.
Which is good because that means it won't be...
It doesn't compete.
It doesn't compete.
Yeah. So there's more chance.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So I really like this in more of like an aggro deck. They've just printed, like today, this like 1 mana 1/2 prowess. If a sorcerer you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on it instead. So spells you control wither.
Or like ping effects have wither as well.
Yeah, ping like Walking Ballista.
Walking Ballista just shoots -1/-1 counters now.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I could see like a mono red deck that can handle a lot of different situations. Because now they have Magma Spray, so you can deal with their Scrap Heap Scroungers. You don't have... I mean, not that the Scrounger blocks anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's definitely more tools. Hungry Flames is still good. And in specifically the Madness decks, you still have like the one that you discard a card and it gets +3/+0. Because like it's a 4/2 trample when it attacks.
Oh yeah, true.
The vampire?
The vampire's really good, yeah.
Yeah, like there's still lots of stuff.
Definitely.
And like they just keep adding stuff. Like especially now that there's 2 mana deal 4 to a creature, then you have like this X double black deal
like this
X
reach
to your
spell.
opponent. Reach spell. Like if you're playing a black red madness deck, I don't see why that's not good.
Cut to ribbons, I think.
Cut to ribbons.
And ribbons is just like drain life. You just like X equals 5. Yeah. You know, or I have 6 lands, I'll drain you for 4. What now? You're dead.
Yeah. So I mean, plus like 2 mana deal 4 to a creature, that's Mizium Mortars. You know,
I mean, it's
it doesn't have the
reasonable.
overload, but like, yeah.
It's a reasonable spell, for sure. It's probably the best one, maybe competing with Dusk to Dawn.
Just because Dusk to Dawn is such a large effect.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So, I think Hazoret probably has a higher chance of seeing play, and it's $5
Instead of 6.
So I think this one's actually a pretty good buy.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also just like a pretty sweet EDH general. Especially with like Wheel of Fortunes and stuff. Like pitch your hand, attack with him, Wheel of Fortune, get some more stuff. I like gods in EDH.
I mean, if you Wheel of Fortune, then you can attack next turn, probably.
No, but it's just a deck that just like tries to like just cycle and just draw a bunch of cards and discard a bunch of cards.
It is a Madness General, and I don't think they've had a Madness
General before.
Commander.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's
Blue
a good
God's
buy.
actually a pretty interesting commander too.
Yeah, I'm into the Red God. I think Hazoret's going to be good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Matthew and I wanted to have a little bit of discussion on As Foretold, which is $25 right now, which I don't really think is a good buy. But we just wanted to talk about how, like, crazy the suspend cards are getting right now in terms of price.
Oh, yeah. They've spiked mad. I think most of them, like Lotus Bloom, I think most of the ones that are, like, people find a reasonable spec. Like, nobody's really going off on the Ancestral Visions because it was already $50.
Yeah.
But Lotus Bloom was like 10 2 days ago, and now it's 20.
Yeah, just doubled in price.
Right? So I guess people are more willing to buy in when things are like closer to 10, around like 10 or less.
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody, I think on MTG Finance, who said they bought a foil Lotus Bloom for like around 10.
Jeez.
2 days ago.
Crazy.
Or yesterday, like right before, like they spoiled it, and then somebody posted on MTG Finance was like, buy these cards. And then one guy was like, good call, I bought my foil for 10, and now that card's like 20.
Yeah.
The foil's 20, the foil and the non-foil are both 20.
Yeah,
so that's how you know it's like an actual spike.
It's an actual spike, yeah.
Never mind the fact that there's clearly a spike on the MTG Goldfish graph. It is a spike.
Yeah. Another good one is Restore Balance. I think Restore Balance might actually be the most promising one, just because it has the most absurd synergy, right? It's like 3 mana, now you get to wrap the board, you know?
If you play no creatures, yeah.
Yeah, if you play no creatures, which is presumably what this deck is doing. Yeah, and like Restore Balance, it has some synergies that people have been trying to break for a while, like just with artifacts. Like, what are those weird things that return lands to your hand?
The bounce lands?
No, they're artifacts that...
Oh, the border posts.
The border posts, yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't think it's going to be that good in Modern right now, to be honest.
Dude, some guy 26 minutes ago posted Modern Brewing with As Foretold, and this is like 3 pages long.
Well, what thread is this on?
This is Reddit, like Magic TCG.
Oh, wow.
And he mentions that, he or she mentions that, because you can do it every turn.
Correct.
Your turn and your opponent's turn.
Correct.
Slaughter Pact costs 0 mana instant. So if you need to kill something on their turn, you kill it, but now you're not even spending mana on your turn. You just, Now you can cast a Serum Visions on your turn, a Path on, like a Fatal Push on their turn.
Right. That's pretty cool. Yeah, all the packs are actually really interesting.
Yeah, so like Esper Control, 4 Serum Visions, 2 Sleight of Hand, 4 Path, 2 Bolt, 4 Remand, 4 Ancestral Vision, 2 Disrupting Shoal because it's free. It's not free off the thing though.
No.
2 Supreme Verdict, 2 Cryptic Command, 3 Snapcasters, 4 As Foretold, 2 Johnny Vengeance. This is very rough. Some of these cards are not that good. Yeah, you could play Grixis. You could play any deck. Like, first of all, Ancestral Vision's already a playable card.
Definitely.
You could just suspend it on turn 1 and it's going to be good.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you now have an out to when you top deck it late.
Definitely.
Because even if your As Foretold is at 2 counters, you can still cast it because it's X or less.
Yep.
And you can cast it right away.
Yep.
They don't even get priority once it's resolved. If they have an Abrupt Decay, you can still cast it.
Right.
Okay?
That's true.
And so the key, I think, is sure it's busted with these cards.
Yeah.
But your deck obviously has to utilize it without these cards.
Right.
And the best is, Fatal Push, like a Serum Visions type deals, Path to Exile.
You want instants so that you can interact on their turn as well.
Exactly. And I didn't even think about Slaughter Pact.
Slaughter Pact is a great...
Because it costs 3, so when you untap, you're going to be able to pay for it.
Yes, definitely. And still cast your spells for the next turn. Then you're casting, 1-drops and stuff.
Yeah.
Seems
and,
really good.
this is just goes right in with, Snapcaster Mage.
Another thing that's also good is the new expertises. Like, Yeheni's expertise also helps cast Ancestral Vision, so it adds some degree of redundancy there. Right? Yeah. You don't have to live and die on these As Fortolds. You at least can still cast or restore balance or...
I mean, expertise can cast the As Foretold, which can then cast a recall.
Exactly. But my point is that if you don't draw your As Foretold, do you just lose? Maybe.
No, well...
But this helps, right?
Well, it depends if you're playing with restore balances.
Yeah.
Or Wheel of Fortune. Well, Wheel of Fortune might not be too bad, actually. Just because, I don't know, I think Wheel of Fate. I don't know if you want to be giving your opponent cards ever in Modern. Because, if they're playing Affinity, suddenly you gave them 7 more cards.
Or burn and they just kill you.
Yeah, so I don't think that card's even playable for free.
Yeah.
If you could just play it for free, I don't even
With a
think
0 mana card, would you play it?
Yeah, I don't even... Unless you... But the thing is, if you yourself are Storm, As Foretold's not good. Because it only can cast 1 spell a turn. So it doesn't help you Storm. So this is meant for, a control deck...
Yes.
...that wants to be able to spend its mana as efficiently as possible.
Yes.
So which means you have to have some amount of card draw.
Definitely.
And some amount of instance. And that sounds to me like control right away. It's not going to go in a Delver deck. Because Delver doesn't care about playing a 3-mana enchantment.
Yeah.
I think they would rather just play anything else. Anything else.
Yeah, you just have to... You have to be a control deck that really wants to abuse these abilities so that you can go off when you do have it, and when you don't have it, you can still win. You know what I mean? I don't know if that deck exists. I'm interested to see what people do, but I'm not that hopeful. I think As Foretold has too much hype around it right now.
Yeah, $25 is too high.
I agree.
Because even if it is a 4 of and there's a lot of ways to build it, doesn't mean it's going to be a 4 of in a bunch of top tier decks.
Yes, exactly.
Also, I mean, Abrupt Decay is still a thing, and if you don't have the Ancestral Visions when they Abrupt Decay when you play it, you're gonna not have a good time.
Yeah, you just spent 3 mana, and now the rest of your cards in your hand are just terrible.
But look, if you're looking for another 0 mana spell that draws you cards that's instant speed,
yes,
you can always play Evermind.
Woo! The technology.
Does anybody know what Evermind does? Anyone? Nobody? Oh, I'll tell you. So it doesn't have a cost. It doesn't have a mana cost, but it's an instant speed card, and it says draw card. And you guessed it. It has Splice onto Arcane for 1 in a blue.
Woo!
So, so there's that. So, yeah, you can play an As Foretold. You can play an Ancestral Visions off of it.
Yeah.
And then on your opponent's turn, for 0 mana, you can cast an Evermind. Draw a card.
Perfect.
Note that, that just cycles the card, and it didn't do anything else in your hand. But it kept it made it look like it was a threat, so your opponent was confused.
And it made you feel good about your As Foretold.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made your As Foretold feel real good.
I mean, maybe there's gonna be a As Foretold Arcane deck.
There you go. Now you're dreaming.
Play, oh god. Goryo's Vengeance, somehow.
You can play the Ritual. There you go.
Desperate Ritual.
Perfect.
Anyway, just Putting that up there. Evermine's 25 cents.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect
It's
spec.
uncommon from Saviors. It's prime specking.
Prime specking target. One day it'll be broken, Matthew. One day.
If something from Saviors ever breaks, the whole set, like, that card's gonna be super expensive. Because the whole set is super low in value.
That's true.
Like if in Dragon's Maze, some card randomly became super busted.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't it be worth so much?
Probably. It would, like, inflate the value of the box and sort of that sort of thing. And, like, they're just so rare. Like,
If Fallen Empires,
yeah.
if a card from Fallen Empires suddenly became hot #1 legacy tech best card ever,
Yeah.
would it be super expensive?
Definitely.
Would it take the entire would it double the value of the box, which is $3?
Maybe, yeah. Just maybe.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's possible. Anything's possible.
All right. Let's move on to our next short discussion topic. We wanted to talk about just, like, price memory and price trends and, like, how to really, or the obscurity of what it means for a card to be a 4 of in the best deck, like a rare. So we were looking at card prices. We were looking at that new 3/1 that has Exert that becomes a 4/4. And Matthew was like, how expensive is Toolcraft Exemplar? It's a rare. It's a 4 of in, like, the best deck. How much is it? And it's like $1.
It's literally
$1. How much is Scrapheap Scrounger? That's like a 4 of in a bunch of decks.
one of the best creatures in Standard.
4 of in the best deck. 4 ofs in a bunch of tier 1.5 and tier 2 decks. It's $250. And just, like, you know, people saying, like, it might be banned, etc., etc. And so, like, why is it that, what makes it that this rare is $1, but Tireless Tracker, a card which has rarely been a 4 of, and isn't really seeing that much play right now, is $850.
Yeah, like EDH. Like I don't.
Like why? Like obviously,
Tireless Tracker, is that modern playable?
People, it sees some modern play, but not a ton. And, like, I think that Toolcraft Exemplar is modern playable. It's a 3/2 for 1.
With first strike.
With first strike if you have 3 artifacts.
Oh, it's if you have 3.
But, I mean, it's still really good. It's still great rate.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like, you could play turn 1 Toolcraft Exemplar, turn 2 Heart of Kiran in Modern, and that's, like, a respectable opening, for sure.
Right, this set doesn't have expertises.
Yes, that's correct. Shadows does not.
Shadows did not have the Masterpiece series type deal. Because I was thinking, like, Scrapheap it was a time where it was more expensive.
Yeah, of course. When it first was realized as, like, this powerful
As
card.
a really good card. But then it settled down.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's still the #1 card in Mardu vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a 4 of in Mardu vehicles.
Like, as a rare, you mean?
And a rare. It's also a 4 of in Zombies deck.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the few cards that can come back from the graveyard for cheap.
Yep.
I'm at a loss for what else it's in, but I'm sure it was in something else.
Yeah, it's in other stuff. Like, there's, like, this black-red Eldrazi aggro deck that
it could be like an Emerge deck or something.
Yeah, or like an Emerge sort of. Yeah, there's different decks that it actually fits in. I guess Tireless Tracker maybe is a bad comparison because it doesn't have masterpieces. But even so, it's like if a card is a rare and a 4 of in the best deck in the format, there's no guarantee it's a good spec at all.
Yeah, because Toolcraft is $1.
Toolcraft is $1.
Toolcraft foil. Maybe I can splurge on my 1-drop cube because this foil is only $3. Crazy.
Seems like a reasonable spec. You might see Modern play one day.
I mean, maybe that's the difference. EDH, like, this is unplayable in EDH. Definitely. I would argue that Scrapheap Scrounger is also unplayable in EDH, unless you're doing some weird storm shenanigans.
Yeah, I could see
black artifacts.
I don't know. I could see it, but it has some value where it's like if you're turbo discarding your hand or something like that,
or if you're like sacking it to stuff.
Yeah. Even then, I don't think it's very.
Even
good.
then, it's worse than Reassembling Sail too.
Yeah, it's way worse than Reassembling.
But yeah, the comparison with Tireless Tracker is pretty bad.
Yeah,
because Tireless Tracker is really good in EDH.
That's true. And it's also modern playable.
Somewhat,
yeah.
So maybe depending on the type of card it is, maybe like commander playability does matter.
That's interesting.
Like I can't think of another reason.
Yeah. It's just price memory, man. People just are willing to, I think it's just a human problem. Like, you're looking at 2 identical products. One just has, 2 different printings of 2 different cards. This one sees the same amount of play as this one, but because this one looks inherently more powerful, you're willing to pay more.
Maybe.
It's just like, I think that's the thing. It's like, it's just an inherently powerful card. Yes, it sees more play outside of, like, Standard, but I think the wow factor is really important when it comes to speccing. And I think this is something that I should learn as well. Is like, a Planeswalker can see just as much play as any other mythic.
Lightning Runner from Aether Revolt was like $2 or something.
Yeah.
$3.
Yeah.
And it's an unplayable mythic in all.
Completely unplayable.
But like, shouldn't that be $1? Shouldn't that be $2? Like, what's the minimum on mythic? I think the minimum on mythic is like $1 to $2, I guess. $2. Yeah. But my point is that the WoW factor is actually important for speccing. More than I'd like to give it credit. You know what I mean? It's interesting too because Tireless Tracker before Kaladesh, that it was in the collected company decks, right?
Yeah.
So it's been tier 1 for a long time.
Yeah.
Now it's probably seen play less than it did before.
Yeah, much less.
Which means you'd think people would sell their copies and it would go down.
But people are just holding them because I guess maybe that's why. Because they know it's a powerful card, they know it can be good again, and they'll use it again in the future probably. So maybe there's that sort of value. It's like, what's the long term on this card? Maybe people are willing to hold on to them more. Is
it also possible that people bought more Tireless Trackers when it came out because it was like a more fun card or whatever that was more fun, but now Standard sucks, so people aren't buying Toolcraft?
I mean, but people didn't think Collected Company was fun, That
was just the only deck, right?
Pretty much. It was like 45% of the meta.
Yeah. I mean, Mardu Vehicles is the exact same.
No, it's not. I mean, it got there, but now it's sort of evening out a little bit. Apparently, 4-color Saheeli's at 35, and Mardu Vehicles is at 30. So 4-color is actually overtaking Mardu Vehicles a little bit, which is interesting.
Why does 4-color Saheeli have 2 entries?
Oh, yeah, this one's with Aetherworks Marvel version.
So 4-color Saheeli in total has 45%.
45, but it's like 2 different builds and doesn't make me that concerned, I think. I don't think this is nearly as oppressive.
True.
Like, the thing is, with the rally decks, not the rally decks, the Coco decks, it was just, like, everything else had, like, a much lower percentage. Like, there was no competition as to what the best deck was. Here, at least 4-color Saheeli and Mardu Vehicles are at least fighting over the best deck. You know what I mean?
Wait, what? Saheeli is 45% of the meta.
Yeah.
She's a 4 of.
Yeah.
She's a mythic 4 of.
Yeah.
And she's almost the same price as Tireless Tracker.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe...
Well, Masterpiece Series, that makes sense. So you would expect...
Tireless Tracker is the one that's wrong.
Yeah, Tireless Tracker is the one that's wrong. That's the problem.
Wasting our time with his Tireless Tracker. Even Gideon, like, how much is Gideon? He's
like $16.
$16, and he sees less play than Saheeli. Correct.
Well, about the same. I would say that equal amounts.
Just because he's in worse decks?
Well, no, but he's like an equal amount of percentage of the meta, basically.
No, he's not in 4-color Saheeli. Chandra's in 4-color Saheeli, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
my point is like Mardu Vehicles and like the 4-color Saheeli without Aetherworks Marvel is like the same percentage of the meta, basically.
Is it possible that the artifact masterpieces are more exciting than the land masterpieces, and that's why
you'd have to look at more? You'd have to look at the box UV. I don't know if I don't want to look it up, but the takeaway is that the WoW factor is really important.
Yeah, I guess
it must be. You know what I mean? There's just got it, and like to be fair, Gideon does see some modern play too.
Sure.
Saheeli has yet to...
Chandra sees modern play too.
Yeah, that's true.
Is Chandra more expensive than Saheeli? I will be so shook. Oh my gosh. 3 Chandras costs more than 4 Saheelis. A lot more. Almost double. I don't understand, Massimo.
I'm trying to explain it, man. I don't really understand
modern play?
Modern play is
the fact that she was way more hyped.
Modern play... Her initial price point is really important too.
Right.
Right? She was pre-selling for like $50. And, obviously she's fallen, but, like, it takes a while for things to, like, start falling, and people are willing to accept, like, this Chandra is $15 or $13, $14, but because... Oh, no, you're looking at the online prices.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so Chandra's at, like, $20, and Saheeli's at, like, $13.
10.
Oh, yeah, at, like, $10. Thank you. So, again, it's, like, price memory, it's, like, flash, it's... modern playability, all these things you have to keep in mind. So if you're looking for like a really high profile spec, you really have to knock it out of the park, I think, on a lot of different metrics. It has to be standard playable, modern playable if you want it to hold up long term. It has to be flashy for it to like, it can't just be a role player in the deck. It has to be like a key part, the main exciting card, I think that really matters.
Even Toolcraft Exemplar could see play in a bunch of different like aggressive decks, but the Mardu one's the best one.
Yes, that's true.
So he only sees playing that one deck. Like, you wouldn't see him in like a Bant aggro deck or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess what you could say is, given all things the same, like if a card pre-orders for $40, but eventually it ends up where like this card should be 15, maybe it'll drop down to 20. But because people, maybe they bought it in at 50 and they don't want to give it away because, you know, sunk cost doesn't exist in some people's minds. But if, say, the exact same card in an alternate universe pre-ordered for 10 and it still ended up at what would considerably be a fair price of 15, maybe that one goes to 20. Or maybe that one goes to 15, I think is more reasonable. The fact that, you know, people who bought in at cheap are more likely to sell, right? Which lowers the price. But if you bought in at 50, you're going to want to hold on to the card more because, you know, if you sell it, you've realized your loss, you know? It's like if you bought a Damnation before the rotation, you know, and then somewhere down along the line, you know, maybe you don't need the Damnation anymore. You're probably more likely to hold on to it than you are to sell it, even though, you know, because the value has dropped so much. So maybe you just want to keep it. Seems like it could go both ways. I'm just quite frankly shook. If I had 3 Chandras instead of 3 Sahelias, I'd be like, oh, sick. Yo, Chandra sees less play than Sahelia. That's great. I should probably sell 2 of them. But Sahelia's only $10. Why sell it? Unless it gets banned. Maybe people are scared it's going to be banned. Maybe that's the thing. That could be the thing.
All right, let's move on. A short discussion on invocations. Looking at the price charts, you want to wait like 3 to 5 months if you want to pick some up. There are some interesting ones that I would actually be interested in picking up. The one that I was most interested in was Loyal Retainers, which is like a $30 card anyways. And it's at $50 right now for the Masterpiece. So I think it's like a great card for EDH. It's really unique, powerful effect.
Yeah, it's got some combos.
It's like a combo thing. I think it's like a reasonable buy. But yeah, I think Loyal Retainers is the best one at its price right now.
At the current... Containment Priest doesn't have a foil price in Paper Magic. Yeah. So if you need that, that's good too.
Yep.
It's interesting that because the Masterpiece objectively looked terrible, that maybe they're not going to be that expensive.
I think they're still going to maintain a high price point. They're really cool collector's items. I think there's people that will really like them. If I were a collector that had this much money, I would definitely buy one of each.
I mean, Cryptic Command's $100.
Yeah.
That's like pretty expensive. Forcible is $300.
Makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah. It's like the best counterspell ever printed. What do you want?
But it doesn't even look good. The art's just some bird awkwardly looking awkward. You know what I mean?
Dude, just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people aren't going to buy it and like the value won't hold. I think they're perfectly fine. I kind of like them. I've grown to them. I didn't like them at first, but they're fine.
I mean, if you want a cardboard representation of a card you cast, then yeah, it's fine. So everything is overpriced except for maybe those ones that we mentioned.
Yep.
So don't buy now. Wait later. Spell Pierce is a cool card, but it's not like you can get most of these cards non-foil for like $3.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of these already have like recent foil printings.
Yes.
So don't splurge on these right now.
Yeah, I would wait 3 to 5 months, and that's probably when they'll bottom out. And if you're looking for a long-term investment, you can buy then and then hold on to them forever.
Right.
Cool. All right. Last card, the most exciting thing of the day. Gideon of the Trials, $50 on Star City Games.
Insane resale price. Absolutely insane. I can't believe they would not Wizards, but like I can't believe vendors would sell for $50. So this card is worse than other Gideon.
So yeah, I mean, I think they're close. I think this card's really good. I think this card is going to be the next format-defining Planeswalker.
I hate it. Just Gideon's forever.
Gideon's forever, man. You just got to get used to it.
Not that I play Standard or whatever. I just want them to be cheap so I can buy them.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you can get them for $42 on presale on TCG Player right now, which is like a slightly more reasonable. I don't expect this to stay at $40 forever. I think this will fall to $30, maybe $25. But this is a really powerful card. I think this card is really, really, really good. I think it will define Standard for the next little while. Just having a 3-mana walker that protects itself with a +1 has just recently historically been very good. Liliana, the Last Hope, saw a ton of play because her minus had a bunch of synergies. Her plus was really good early. She protected herself so that she could get to her ultimate, which did win the game. I think that this card
This one doesn't have an ultimate.
Doesn't really have an ultimate.
It has an ultimate that says you can't lose the game.
So, I mean, that's interesting. I don't think his last 0 is very good. Like, you get an emblem with you as long as you control Gideon, you can't lose. It's just like a life game. You know what I mean?
Huh? Oh, because they have to.
They just have to attack your Gideons first, which is like not necessarily a big deal.
I mean, I'm sure that there will be situations in games where your opponent just can't deal with you.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Like, what if you get an emblem and they're on something blue control, where their only creatures are like
Gearhulk.
the Gearhulk.
Yeah,
and you have that emblem, and then you just plus the Gearhulk every turn.
Yep, and they just can't.
They can't win.
They can't.
They deck out.
They just deck out. Yeah, I mean, there is that. But I think that overall, that particular ability is not very exciting to me.
It's cool because it's 0 mana and you get an emblem.
Yeah, that's pretty
0 loyalty.
You could make as many of these as you wanted.
There's probably an infinite combo where you can get infinite Gideon of the Trials emblem. And you can never win an infinite amount of times.
Wow, that's
or never lose.
That's so powerful. Anyways, my point is, I think the +1 is really good. I think some mid-range decks will want this. I think they'll want Gideon, Ally of Zendikar more, but the fact that this costs 3 just puts it like, I think this card is better than Gideon, Ally of Zendikar. I'm gonna say it right now. I think the fact that I think they're equally powerful. This one's probably a little bit worse, but the fact that it costs 3 just puts it like so much above Gideon, Ally of Zendikar. Like, this comes down, it can crew a Heart of Kiran right away. It comes down, and if you're playing any sort of control deck, it just shrinks their biggest thing forever. It makes it like, can't attack or block. And then, as soon as you're ready to start turning the corner, once you cast your sweeper, you can just, it's also a game ender.
Yeah, I like that this card, its plus is like the Kiora, the original Kiora.
Yeah.
Which, it prevented that it would deal or be dealt.
Yeah.
Right? It's a big key difference, because now you can go turn 2 Scrap Heap, turn 3 Gideon of the Trials, plus on their blocker, and if they block, your Scrap Heap survives.
Yeah, and everything dies.
Probably, because it's a 3-power 2-mana creature.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so, Gideon seems really good with, like, high power, low toughness creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're able to just basically blank
nullify their best defender.
Right. I mean, this is much better for an aggressive deck.
You think it's better for an aggressive deck?
I think this is much better for an aggressive deck, because then you can attack with a 4/4 that's actually good.
Right. The 4/4 attacking is actually relevant.
Because 4/4 is much different than a 5/5 attacking.
Way different. Especially in standard with, like, Grasp sticking around.
Because this still dies to Grasp.
Exactly. Right? That's my point. Like, a 5/5 is way better than a 4/4.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, 4/4 is much worse.
Yeah.
The clock's way different.
Yes.
Stuff like that. So, I think this being able to come down and plus to make your guys hard to block is pretty exciting. Because it's almost +1, your opponent can't block, but then also it can't attack.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's very, very good.
This is like in like a scenario where your deck is designed to make that.
To maximize him?
Make that the case.
Yeah.
And you just play 2-mana 3/1s all day.
Yep.
My favorite card, power and toughness.
I think this card's just fantastic. I think it's just going to go in the majority of white decks. Control decks want this card. Aggro decks, I definitely want this card. Mid-range decks probably want this card in addition to the other Gideon. Everyone thinks the alt is fancy. It's exciting. I don't think it is. I think if you read this as it only having the first 2 abilities, it would be perfectly playable and very good.
I mean, the thing is that alt might just sometimes be straight up you win the game.
Yes.
Sometimes.
In very fringe scenarios, it will win you games you would have otherwise lost. But I don't think it matters that much.
If you have that emblem, I can only assume the other win... Like, you've only gained the win condition of decking your opponent out.
Your opponent, yeah.
Maybe against worse players, they'll start panicking and attacking your Gideons, and that'll give you like a bunch of like value.
Yeah.
But against like a pro, they'll probably take you to 0, and like, because this doesn't stop you from losing life.
No.
You go to -1 or 0,
yeah.
And then they kill your Gideon with like anything.
A ruinous path.
Yeah, with a ruinous path, and then you lose.
Yeah, that's definitely
as a state-based effect.
Yeah.
What do you think about the other Gideon, the dual deck one?
I think it's bad.
I don't remember what it does. It's 5 mana, right?
Yeah.
You can go turn 3 Gideon, turn 4 Gideon, turn 5 Gideon.
Yeah, it's like if your first Gideon dies, then your second Gideon is also going to die, and then your third Gideon will also die. What a perfect play.
Okay, what is the other Gideon called?
I don't know.
Gideon. Is it a Martial Paragon?
Yeah, that one.
That sounds Alright. +2 untap all creatures you control. Those creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay. Doesn't do anything. Until end of turn, it becomes a 5/5.
Yeah. Just worse than Gideon Ally of Zendikar.
That's the exact same.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Gideon actually +1.
Yes.
So actually it is worse. -10, whatever. Okay, this card's not good. Sorry.
It's terrible, yeah.
I mean, maybe if you're playing hey, this works with Exert too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, you exert,
Red, white, exert.
play 1 Gideon Martial Paragon so you can untap your... This is like an always watching that is also a Gideon.
And you can play... Did you see the enchantment that fetches him?
Gives all your guys +1/+1 also. Yeah. Doesn't that cost 5?
No, I think it only costs 4. Or maybe it does cost 5.
If it costs 5, it's bad. But if it costs 4, then now we're talking.
Hold on.
Classic Massimo combos.
Oh, it does cost 5.
Oh, it costs 5, then never mind.
Yes.
Because it doesn't curve.
It doesn't curve very well.
That's fine.
Me looking for that fringe advantage, you know?
Well, I mean, it would have been another thing. Yeah, so you could play that as like a one of in like an Exert deck. Just because it untaps all your guys. And that's sick value.
Yeah, seems okay.
Maybe the Planeswalker deck is an Exert deck, because I know the land is Stone Quarry, so it's red-white.
Right.
So maybe it
is just an Exert deck.
Maybe that's the cuteness.
The theme.
They've already explained the cuteness to you.
I wouldn't say buy your Gideons now. If you want to play Standard Day 1, you're going to need your Ruinous Paths, for sure. Or you're going to need your Gideons, Gideon of the Trials. Unless they print, I really hope they print some Destroy Target Planeswalker.
Or, like, better discard. They've already given us 1 discard, but it's not that good.
There is Cast Out, which is the 4-mana flash enchantment that can exile Planeswalkers and also has cycling. I think that card's really good. So that can answer either Gideon, which is definitely reasonable.
But if you're playing white, you're playing Gideon, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Problem.
Yeah. The one thing, the caveat, Gideon of the Trials does not protect you from Saheeli Rai combo, right? Because they just put half of the Felidar Guardians at Gideon and half of the Felidar Guardians at you, and you just die.
Oh, you mean the 0.
The emblem, right? And it does neither, and his plus doesn't protect either. So as a white deck, you need to have it answer to the Saheeli Rai combo at all times. This does not help you at all.
Well,
other than the fact that it's like aggressive and it pressures the Saheeli when it's on the table.
It doesn't. I mean, you can still play like Walking Ballista.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. But my point is that I think he is a meta-defining card. I think like along with Heart of Kirin and Saheeli Rai Felidar Guardian combo, I think Gideon of the Trials would probably be like another deck or something like that. At that point, if for this to be a meta-defining deck, it needs to have answers. You know what I'm going to play?
What?
I'm going to play white-black mid-range, and it's going to be the best.
You're going to play this?
Oh, yeah. Oh. I'm going to play 4 Fatal Push, 4 Grasp of Darkness, some number of Stasis Snares, some number of Cast Out, like 4 Gideon of the Trials, 4 Heart of Kirin, 4...
You could plus Gideon on a Heart of Kirin.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a permanent. It doesn't say creature.
Yeah, exactly. It protects itself from Heart of Kirin, which is absurd. Like 3 or 4 Lily of the Last Hope, some number of Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, some number of Kalidas, some number of Avacyn, like maybe 1 or 2 Sorin Grim Nemesis, some number of this new Lily that buys back all your bombs. What? This deck's perfect. It builds itself.
I mean, those are just all the good cards in Standard.
Good cards.
It's not very exciting, to be honest.
It's so exciting to me, man.
I'm not excited.
All right. I think that's all we have for today.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. Matthew, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I think we've given you a lengthy podcast.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that's makes up for some of it.
Yeah. Again, thanks for listening. A reminder, we're on Twitter. Follow us at MTG Spec Podcast for episode updates. Feel free to send us feedback. Send us an email at mtgspec@gmail.com if you want to send us something more lengthy. Tell your friends about the show. That's the best way to help us grow. We're going to be doing some things to try and grow the podcast even more. So we're going to be on YouTube and a number of other ways to share your media. And finally, check us out on mtgspeculator.com. That's the home for the podcast. You'll find everything there fully archived, all the previous episodes, and this one, of course. Thanks, guys, and we will see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Take it easy. Wait, how are we doing this? I say a whole card
Just
name.
one word.
Fine.
The most delicious part of playing
Magic
is
When
you
are
crushing
your
opponent
with...
counterspells.
Okay. Next, you start.
At
The
Friday
night
Magic
tournament
last
week.
I
Beat
a
Teamer
Delver
player
by
casting
Omniscience
into
Emrakul.
Emrakul. Okay, that's a good one. Or one more. Or I'll start. Commander
Is
a
fun
format
if
you
don't
like.
winning.
Now that's true.
That's a true statement.
And the podcast is just a true fact. Perfect. It's a good sign off.